Kids need heritage, not inheritance. Sorry, Sophia.
No, I agree.
The more that parents leave to their kids, the more they spoil and entitle and kill the kids' ability to create value in the world. It's more about what you leave in your kids than to them.
And this is what I do with my kids. They're so simple that even kids can understand them. So you can have ETFs that combine different stocks. You can have ETFs that combine different bonds. You can even have, there are ETFs that invest in real estate. Boys are just naturally more curious about making money and especially about investing. They are so into it, and girls, not so much.
Get ready for the next iteration of you on your path to becoming wealthy. On this show, you'll get the insider's view on wealth creation, the class none of us got taught in school, with my co-host, daughter, and beginning investor, Sophia Bosch. And now, let's get started. Welcome to Becoming Wealthy. I'm your host, Michelle Bosch. I have my co-host today, of course, here with
Sophia
me.
Bosch.
And we have a very special guest. We have our very first gentleman actually here on the Becoming Wealthy podcast, and his name is Scott Donnell. He is the best-selling author of the book Value Creation Kit: The Healthy Struggles Your Children Need to Succeed. He has served over 6 million families already, and he is, I think, launching an app that I'm all excited to hear about called Gravy Stack that is teaching basically financial competency to kids.
Yeah, I'm the leading expert in financial literacy for kids across the country.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's really about helping our kids and teenagers and adult kids, helping them think about how to create value in the world.
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to that. Money is not actually the focus. Money is a result of creating value. It's a store of value.
Yeah.
Right? And so many people, actually adults too, they don't get that. I think the goal is, I just want to make money. I just want to have a bunch and get rich and blah, blah, blah. No, that's a determinant of creating value for other people. And so it starts with this idea of how can you teach your kids and teenagers to create value everywhere they go? And we don't just have, there's lots of types of value out there, and money is just the return of one of them. One of the greatest stories I ever heard was from Sharon Lechter. Do you know who Sharon Lechter is?
We had her on the show a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we were like starstruck.
Yeah, she's like the godmother of financial literacy.
Yeah.
And when we wrote our book, Value Creation Kid, as we were hitting the bestseller list, I saw her at Lee's house, and basically she said, "Scott, you nailed it. This is exactly what kids need to understand first. It's the precursor to financial skills."
Yeah.
And she said, when I was a kid, my dad, before I'd go to bed every single night, he would ask me one question. What value do you create for somebody else today? How did you create value for other people? And she said it was one of the single greatest things that turned her into the person she is today. And she's helped countless. She's probably helped hundreds of millions of people by this point.
Yeah.
And that's the thinking. That's what we want for kids to have. And if you can do that, it's like shooting fish in a barrel for the rest of your life. You don't have to worry about a job. You're going to start adding value, and people are going to be hunting you down to have you work for them, or the businesses that you start, the customers will be finding you like crazy. And so when you do that with kids and teenagers, it's like, oh, I know how to create value in my classroom. I know how to create value on my sports team. I know how to create value in my home, in my neighborhood. It's the best way to go. Sophia, I have a challenge for you. Are you ready? Never charge hourly again. Let me unpack that for a minute. Most kids, they think that a job needs to be, I work hard, I get paid by the hour, and it's all based on my time and my effort. Okay? That is a linear way of thinking about how to create value and earn money. My challenge to you is never charge hourly ever again. Because if you do that, you're going to move into what we call the results world. Instead of time and effort, now people can pay you for the results, no matter how long it takes you. So instead of me helping right now, sometimes I'll consult a company and I'll get equity, or I'll get, $50,000 to $100,000 just by helping them for a little bit. If I were to charge hourly like $100 or something, that would be a joke because I'm adding millions of dollars of value to the business in an hour with me. If you spend an hour with me, I will add millions of dollars to your business right away. So why would I ever charge an hourly if I'm adding so much value that they're crazy not to pay me? That's how you want to think about your future. You want to move into what we call the results category. So now it's based on the results you can get and the value you create for other people rather than your time and your effort. Kids need heritage, not inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Sophia. It's
No, I agree.
it's the more that parents leave to their kids, the more they spoil and entitle and kill the kids' ability to create value in the world. It's more about what you leave in your kids than to them. So it's more about the relationships. It's more about the values of the family. It's what it means to have your last name. It's the skills and the communication, the education, the stuff that you need to succeed on your own. That's what heritage is. I will walk you through what we call the home economy system, which starts with 3 E's. Okay, this is our answer to allowance because allowance is socialism. Allowance is not helpful. Your kids need to earn money. Our kids need to earn their own money because then they'll spend it, save it, invest it, and share it wisely.
I don't have
Protect it and take care of it and really have a little bit of reverence because it has the best of them in it, right? The best of you. Yeah.
That's right. And most parents just pay their kids an allowance. Like, oh, good, my kids are getting money and now they're learning how to spend it. Your kids don't need to learn how to spend money. They'll spend it. Or they'll hoard it because they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
But what kids really need is to be able to learn to earn, right? By creating value. And then the worst of all is when parents are like, well, I don't pay any chores. My kids just do, or I don't pay any allowance. They just do chores like they're told to. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, okay, but now you're paying for everything and your kids never learn anything about money, right? So what you guys are doing, like with the real estate stuff, is brilliant. Like what we have is called the home economy system, the 3 E's. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
The first E is expectations. Though that's the role in the family. You don't pay for certain things that your kids are just a part of your family. This is your role in the home, making your bed and cleaning your room and good hygiene and homework.
Putting everyone's clothes away, whether it belongs to you or not.
Put the clothes away. Like this are things that are the role in the home, right? Yeah. Some parents have more, some have less. But then the second thing is where a lot of parents kind of mess up. It's the second E, which is expenses. Mm-hmm. A lot of parents pay for everything for their kids. And the more you do that, the less you're training them on how to learn about budgeting, on how to pay for things, on how to plan ahead for things, on the price of goods and trade-offs. You're just buying everything and the kids don't learn. But if you start passing off expenses, guess what? Now the kids start to have a motive to earn. Yeah. Okay. Just like you said about college, we have 12 categories of expenses that families should start passing off while the kids are in the home. And these can start as young as age 6. It's birthday presents for friends and social outings with friends and toys and games and trinkets and tech, their first phone. You know, those are the things that are really helpful for the kids to start to earn. Yeah. But then you got to have ways for them to earn, which is the third E, extra pay.
Yeah.
So with Gravy Stack, what we do is we automate this home economy where there's just tons of gigs that you set up for the family. Mm-hmm. And they are ways for kids to make an extra a few bucks by creating value.
Action gigs versus the brain gigs too. I love that.
That's right. And then we also have brain gigs because, Sophia, I'm going to tell you a little tip. Your brain is your business.
Right.
Your brain is how you're going to make money if you want to do well.
Yeah.
Kids need to learn that. Teenagers need to learn that. And so we have these brain gigs in the app that you can set up a fun way for your kids to learn important things you want them to learn that they've never done before, like PragerU videos and TED Talks and articles, podcasts, read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And
I read that one.
Where the kids tell you what they learned and how they're going to apply it, 2 paragraphs or a couple question answered. They put it right there in the app and they can make $5 or $10.
Yeah, I wish I would have known about this sooner because, it's like it would have made it much more fun for Sophia. So how can a parent create these at home?
Yeah. So for us, a healthy struggle is any athlete or academic knows what we're talking about here. But a healthy struggle is not tough love.
Yeah.
It's not trauma or neglect or abuse. That's those things you get rid of. Never pass those on to the next generation. But a healthy struggle are the things that help the kids overcome good things, learn capabilities, and then get confidence for the rest of their life to create value. That's the point of a healthy struggle. So we have about 90 of them in the book that are not taught in schools, by the way. So these are things like emotional skills and relationship skills and business prep skills and practical skills and financial skills, technology skills, budgeting skills, health skills. Like these are healthy struggles that kids can go through. And all you have to do is create a simple environment for them to overcome and figure it out, on their own with your guidance to be able to overcome. Because the goal of all this is for them to earn and get the capabilities and skills on their own, right? So many parents that we meet, they came from a tough life and they say, well, I just want to give my kids all the things I never had.
Yeah.
I don't want them to have to deal with all the tough things I had to deal with. Well, what made you, right, Michelle? Like part of it is overcoming and learning these capabilities. And you want to be able to do that in a safe environment. And, so many parents, they're like, every time the kid forgets a meal or the homework, the parent finishes it for them and brings it to school. They fight the coach for playing time. They fight the teacher for the grade. Like so many things happen where the kids aren't learning on their own. And so what we're saying here is not do free range parenting. Don't do, don't do gentle parent. Like there's a ton of parenting strategies out there. The only really good one is the value creation parenting. That's the one that sticks for life. We call it the sweet spot. Okay. Everybody worries about, oh no, what if I miss my calling? Or what if I don't find that perfect person? No. Forget all that. It's called the sweet spot. It's a triangle. And at the top of the triangle is what you love to do. The things that give you flow time. What are the skills? What if you did it, you would do it for 8 hours without even thinking about anything else. You just absolutely love it. And then the second piece of the triangle is what you're good at. Because a lot of people love things that they suck at, right? You want to find things that you're really talented at doing, that it just comes easy to you, that it adds immense value to other people. And you just need to ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your relatives, like, what is that one thing that you're like, you're better at this than anybody else in the world, okay? Your unique ability. And then the third piece of the triangle is the thing that meets the most needs for others, that creates the most value for other people. And where those three things meet, that's your sweet spot. That's what you should be focusing on for the rest of your life. You love it, you're good at it, and it really helps a ton of other people and creates a ton of value. That is my best advice I could probably give you at this age. Do not worry about a job or don't worry about a degree. Skills beat degrees, okay? So really remember that. Find the best people you can and just ask them to mentor you.
And today we have a very special guest. We're joined by Maya Corbic. She is a CPA, the author of kids' book From Piggy Banks to Stocks, the ultimate guide for young investors, and the founder of Wealthy Kids Investment Club. Her work has been featured in CBS News, NBC, ABC, Fox, and more. She also has a very popular Instagram account with over 195,000 followers and inspires parents to raise financially independent kids. So with that, welcome to Becoming Wealthy. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. There's a lot of misconception about what investing is. A lot of times when people think of investing, they think of it as trading. So there is actually two different kinds of investing. There is trading and then there is long-term investing. There is also some short-term investing, but let's just focus on trading and long-term investing. Most of us are long-term investors. We invest for 5 years, 10 years. We're investing for our retirement or like our kids' college education or maybe our first home. Traders, that's something completely different. That's the stuff that we see on TV, in the like those movies like The Wolf of the Wall Street. You see those guys like staring at like 10 computer screens the whole day, like in this high pressure environment, like trading stocks, yelling at each other, whatever. Most people who actually invest for long term, they don't do any of that. And so to become a long term investor is actually quite easy, and it doesn't look like anything like what I described before. Essentially, as a long term investor, you just really need to figure out a few things, invest your money, set your portfolio, and then periodically review it and literally go on and live your best life. It's that easy and simple. And this is what I do with my kids. And like they're so simple that even kids can understand them. But so you can have ETFs that combine different stocks. You can have ETFs that combine different bonds. You can even have like there are ETFs that invest in real estate. So if you don't have money to invest into like bricks and mortar real estate, you can invest in these ETFs that basically
That go out and invest.
yeah. So there are
Explain what does the ETF stand? What does the E, the T, and the F stand for?
so they're called exchange traded funds, ETFs. And the beautiful thing about them is that, like, I'll give an example. One of my favorite ETFs, it's called VOO, and it represents the 500 largest US companies.
Okay.
And so the way it works is it basically represents all the companies that are listed on the S&P 500 stock exchange. So in order for a company to make it to the S&P 500 stock exchange, there are certain criteria. They have to be a really solid company. And so this ETF automatically follows this S&P 500 index. So by buying one share of ETF, you're automatically investing in 500 largest US companies. And NVIDIA is one of them. Meta, which is Facebook, Google, Amazon, Johnson and Johnson, like all these companies are part of that. So you're diversifying your risk. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
In one stock. I know you have an investment club with parents. Like, how do you help the parents teach the kids, long term thinking in a world where there's instant gratification? Like, I want to know something. Like in an instant, you do a search.
Or for little kids, like
I want a lollipop. I want it now. If they were, if they're of a certain age, but so how do you start teaching this, long term vision, because that's really what it's about.
Yeah, so it's really important to tie, and I teach parents not just about investing, I also teach them to help their kids learn about money. But number one thing that we can do for our kids is actually tie the long-term gratification to their goals. Like,
Yeah.
and whatever those goals may be, and when you tell your kids, oh, we're saving for your retirement, it's like, what? They don't care. Or we're saving for your college education. Some of them really don't care.
Which now, now it's Sophia that is a junior, and so she's a rising senior. She'll start senior year this fall. So now the conversation of college fees, she's actually gotten a little bit of sticker shock, I think,
oh my
to look
god,
at some of the skills that she's
so
interested in and the tuition fees. So it's becoming much more real for her, you know. And at this point, you have about a year to keep on adding to your little nest egg,
yes.
towards college. But then after that, quite literally in 5 years from now, so in a 5 year time frame, you're probably going to be coming out of college. And then the next big thing that I would think is like, okay, I get a job somewhere. Where am I going to live? Am I going to be a renter, or am I going to buy and perhaps a home purchase, and saving towards or investing to have enough money to buy a home might be the next logical big expense or goal, like Maya was saying, to think about, as you're going through. But I know that I interrupted Maya there, but I wanted to bring it like real for her,
because I've been looking at that, because there's always, I'm trying to get out of state. I don't know if I can be in Arizona.
she wants to get out of state.
I want to change, but I do know the cost of like a college, like the out of state tuition is wild. Um but then it's like I see that and I really want to go there, but I see the cost, and but then I also have ASU here that I could probably get like merit scholarships or like in-state tuition, all of that. I could basically be covered. So which one do I would rather, like, I have to start thinking about that. It's also
Yeah, like my son, he is I mean, we're in Canada, it's similar process, but he is just graduating high school and he accepted essentially equivalent to your like in-state college. And we live in Toronto and he will be commuting because it's quite close. So it was like, do I stay on res or, but then we ran the costs and he said to me, Mom, I would rather, have a car for now, like a used car, and that money, because we have like we've been saving for him and like something similar to 529 plan for as long as he's been born. And on top of that, any money that he got for Christmases or special occasions like birthdays and whatnot, we've invested all that. So he has this other nest egg. And I'm like, I really don't want to touch that. And I was telling him, I'm like, when you graduate from university or college or whatever, you can literally have enough money for down payment on a nice condo or house. So I said, it's up to you. Like, this is your money. And literally, like, now that we've come to that point where, okay, now we have to decide what to do with that money, he's like, I think I'm going to stay at home. He's like, I'm going to network as much as I can. He's like, I'm going to join the clubs because, he wants to be part of the activities that are happening there. But he's like, I really, considering that so many young people will not be able to afford their own homes, he's like, I know actually if I continue investing, I'm going to have enough for down payment. And he's like, I can actually afford something and then maybe, rent out a part of the home and like help cover the mortgage that way down the road. So we are talking about those things. And I think everybody needs to decide for themselves, but I like to inspire my kids. Also, another thing, because you asked me how to inspire kids, you can go online and you can search up free compound interest calculator. And there's a lot of different ones. You can choose the one that you like the best. But what I like to do is I like to put in the amount of money that, let's say, they currently have in their investment or savings account. And then how much more if they add, let's say, $50 a month or $100 a month now until like, I don't know, 2030, what's that going to grow to? And I find that really inspires them because they can see how much money is.
it makes it real. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Do you see a difference between like girls versus boys comprehending the different concepts, investing concepts?
So sadly, I have to say yes. Yeah. And we're three women here on this call. And I don't know if it's what it is, but boys are just naturally more curious about making money and especially about investing. They are so into it, and girls, not so much. I actually had maybe some 10 years ago, I was actually there are a lot of public schools here in Toronto, and I was actually scheduled to do some workshops in one of the schools, and it's a public school. It had co-ed classrooms, and they were running this pilot project where they separated. I believe it was grade twos. Yeah, I think it was grade twos. They had a lot of different grade twos, different classrooms of grade twos, and it was co-ed, but they separated this one cohort into girls and boys. And so I went to teach them, and this was kind of like, as a woman, I'm like, man, I can't believe this actually happened, but it really did. So I went to teach the girls, and they're like, oh, we love your hair. We love your makeup. You look so pretty. Like, we exchanged all these pleasantries for the first 10 minutes. And then, I taught them my like curriculum for grade twos. In grade two, I now actually can teach, now I teach investing even to grade twos. But back then, because I was first starting out, I wasn't teaching investing to grade twos. And like, it just ended, with basic lessons or about money and whatnot. Then I went to the boys' class. It was business right from the start. They're like, so are you here to teach us investing? And I'm like, no. I'm like, we're going to learn other things. I don't teach kids investing, kids your age. And they're like, why? We want to learn investing. So I literally changed the lesson right on the spot. And started teaching them investing because all they wanted to know is how to invest their money, because they somehow knew that you can't just save your money to wealth, like you really have to invest it. And they were very curious.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit more assertiveness, perhaps a little bit more self-confidence in general. Or yeah, because you know, I would think that it would have to do with how you are, what you're playing with, or what kind of play you're engaging in, and perhaps that triggers.
And you also don't know like what the parents were doing or whatever.
Exactly. So, yeah, has the type of household that they've grown up um made a difference in the boys that you have taught some investing to?
Maybe. I mean, I just went to that school. I'm not sure what the households they came from, but I can tell you, and that was some 10 years ago. And I really hope, I feel like financial literacy education has really changed significantly. And, we as a society globally, we have changed, right? I mean, women are being empowered more and more to make certain, like more bold decisions. And so maybe it has changed. I do know I have a boy and a girl. I have a son and a daughter. And I was very cognizant of the fact that like my son was a little bit more interested in investing. And so I started teaching my kids about investing when they were very young. And I could totally tell my daughter wasn't really interested that much. But every time, and when they were younger, this is another thing that I should probably share with your listeners. When they were younger, I didn't invest. Well, I did invest into ETFs separately without them really knowing what I was investing in. But with them, I invested into stocks of companies that they knew and understood. So Apple, Disney, and so on. And because they could relate, they understood the business and we could discuss it. So if something happened in the news, we could talk about it. And so a lot of times things would happen in the news, and my first instinct was to go to my son and talk to him about it because he was more interested in investing. But I was like, no, 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 I'm going to hold off. We're going to have this discussion at the dinner table because I wanted my daughter to be part of it. And, you know, she definitely wasn't as interested. But I think over the years, I mean, she's 16 now, and I can see she's become so money smart and very much aware of, anything when it comes to investing and making money. And so, but it took conscious effort to get to that point.
Yeah, you had to be deliberate about it. Absolutely. And that's again, you can't leave anything to chance. You have to, you know, plan for the things that you want to accomplish. And I know for you, it was to bring them both up with, financial literacy and financial knowledge to make empowered decisions when it comes to their money. Now, maybe we could wrap this up with one last question for me, from me, and that would be, can you walk us through perhaps a basic activity or an exercise that you do with parents, or that parents can do at home, to teach any kind of investing or stop or money related, um, topics?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's stick with, I guess, investing because that's what we're talking about. So, one of my favorite things to do, and this is something that I did with my own kids, every time they receive some birthday money, when they were little, actually, we would invest all of it. But now that they're older, we invest 50% and the other 50 they get to spend. So the 50% that we invest, we just sit down and we talk about it. And it's kind of like, okay, where would you like to invest this money? When they were younger, again, it was companies that they knew and understood. If they got significant amount of money, then I would only let them invest a small portion of that money into these individual companies. The majority of it did go into ETFs because I really believe in those types of investments. And then I would actually I would show them their portfolio and how well it was performing. And every time they receive the dividend, which is usually like, March, June, October, like end of September, beginning of October, and December, like I would be like, okay, guys, like you received your dividends, let's reinvest them. Let's make sure that you're earning some more money. And we constantly had conversations about it. I really think it's important to talk about investing. Like, it's just something that we do. We're investors. It's kind of like brushing our teeth, right? We all brush our teeth. Well, we're all investors. So it's the same thing.
Thank you so much, Maya. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having us and for making the time to be with us and pour into Sophia.
For sure. Thank you both for having me on your podcast, and enjoy your day. Bye.